What if a former U.S. president publicly apologized to Africa, and a silent soldier's quiet response changed the world forever? This is the story of Captain Ibrahim Traoré, a man who bore the weight of history's silence and finally made the world listen. It began like any normal Thursday afternoon. Global news anchors were halfway through their political updates when every major network cut to a live feed from Washington, D.C. The screen faded to black. Then slowly, the presidential seal appeared. No music, no warning, just Barack Obama sitting alone at a polished desk. No American flag behind him. Just silence. His eyes looked tired, not from sleep, but from carrying a weight no one could name yet. "Good evening," he said quietly. "I know this message is unexpected. I've never done anything like this before, but this cannot wait." Around the world, viewers leaned in. In Burkina Faso, Captain Ibrahim Traoré sat in a modest meeting room, staring at the television like millions of others. Soldiers behind him froze. Even the fans stopped humming, or maybe it just felt that way. Obama continued, "I come here not as a former president, but as a man who must apologize." His voice cracked. "I must apologize to you, Captain Traoré." The world gasped. Twitter exploded. But Traoré did not blink. No one moved. In the presidential compound in Ouagadougou, you could hear a pin drop. Reporters across Africa were confused. Even in Paris, the live French translation stumbled mid-sentence. Captain Traoré sat completely still, his dark green uniform freshly pressed, eyes locked on the screen. No script, no reaction planned, no idea this moment was coming. Obama's voice broke the silence again. "I know what the world thinks. They see you as a strong man, a fighter, a revolutionary. But I see something else, something I once ignored. I see a man standing for dignity, for justice, for a continent that has been silenced for too long." Commentators on American news channels were stunned. Was this a trap? A setup? An attempt to soften the U.S. image in Africa? But those watching from the Sahel felt something different. Something real. Obama's tone changed again. "Ibrahim, your fight is not just military. It's moral. And I have to say I was wrong. Not just me. We were wrong." A single tear rolled down an aide's face behind Traoré. Still, he said nothing. That silence, louder than any words, filled the room like thunder. Obama unfolded a crumpled paper from his pocket, old and yellowed. "I want to read something," he said. "My father once wrote this in a letter before he died. I never shared it until now." His voice trembled as he read, "If you ever gain power, use it to lift those we once stepped on. Apologize, even when it's decades too late, especially to Africa. My father was Kenyan. I was born between two worlds, but I ignored half of my identity in office. I prioritized strategy over truth. And that truth is, Captain Traoré, you're standing in the fire we lit." Social media exploded with mixed reactions, but in Ouagadougou, a journalist whispered, "This isn't about politics. This is something else." Traoré shifted slightly, eyes narrowing. His advisors leaned toward him, but he waved them off. Obama's eyes lifted. "I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm asking the world to remember this moment, because silence too is a weapon. And today, I lay mine down." Traoré's lips parted, but no words came. Somehow that was enough. Across Burkina Faso, markets fell silent. Radios crackled. Phones buzzed in every village and city. The world was still watching. And Captain Ibrahim Traoré had not spoken. His silence was no longer a pause. It was a storm. The next morning, hundreds gathered outside the presidential palace. Journalists, mothers, veterans, children holding signs. One read simply, "Let truth speak." At 6 a.m., a single microphone stood on a wooden podium outside the presidential office. No gold, no banners, no military music. Just a man in a plain green uniform stepping into the light. Captain Ibrahim Traoré approached slowly. He didn't bring notes. He didn't need them. The crowd was silent. Camera lights flicked on. Live streams from TikTok to YouTube counted over 75 million viewers. Then he spoke. His voice was steady, calm, wounded but strong. When a man like Barack Obama says, "I'm sorry," to a country like ours, we must ask, what now? He looked up, meeting the world through the lens. This apology is not a finish line, it is a doorway. But we, the people of Burkina Faso, have always walked without welcome. A woman sobbed in the crowd. To every child who has eaten only once a day, to every mother who has buried a son because of foreign weapons, I say this: you were never invisible. You were simply ignored. Never again. His voice rose, not in anger, but in promise. And to President Obama, I accept your apology. Now let the healing begin. 3 weeks later, the world saw something unexpected. Leaked footage of a French raid gone wrong. Civilians caught in the crossfire, screams, smoke, a young Traoré pleading for mercy. This was not just a soldier. He was a man who tried to stop the bleeding long before the cameras came. At the United Nations, Burkina Faso was invited to deliver the keynote at the Global Peace Summit. Traoré did not go. Instead, he sent a village teacher, a young woman who once taught in a school with no roof or desks. "You expected a soldier," she said, shaking, "but today you will hear from the soil, from the forgotten, from the truth." She ended with Traoré's words: "We don't want to lead the world, we want to lead our people, and we want the world to finally listen." From South Africa to Brazil, from Detroit to Dar es Salaam, millions tuned in. Tears streamed down faces, not from tragedy, but because finally, after centuries, a voice from Africa was heard and respected. Traoré never sought the spotlight, but he became the symbol of a new dawn. If this story touched your heart, if it moved you even a little, please comment below. Tell me, what would you say to Captain Traoré? Like this video to show respect, and subscribe if you believe more stories like this deserve to be heard. Let the world hear the truth. Let the world feel again.